Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you once again for joining me. We are still working on the AWA Remco tournament. Of course, this tournament does include both original as well as custom action figures. So far we've completed four videos. In the last video, I mentioned that based on what I saw in front of me, I was probably looking at about 7 videos, but I'm actually wrong. There's another seller I buy from. His name's Jonathan on eBay. It's Mr. Slowdive. So I do have about 11 other figures, and let me count them off really quick. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah. So 11 additional figures. So I'm going to have to find some way to break that up into 2 videos and try to make it as even as possible. I'm thinking because I have 3 Barbarian figures, I might find some way to kind of mix those in together as one single matchup and just choose the best out of those figures. So one of the last videos I'm going to do, I'm going to probably have to rearrange that random drawing just to balance it out as much as possible. So another fun video, I think. A lot more original figures in this video than in past videos. But there are about 2 or 3 figures that I'm really excited about showing off. One of them just because of the horror theme of the action figure. But in this video, we are looking at Ric Flair versus Wild Bill Irwin, original figures. The Phenom Undertaker will square off against original Hawk from Legion of Doom. And then we've got the Russian Boris Zukov squaring off against the original Scott Hall. From the High Flyers, we got Greg Gagne squaring off against Steven Regal. And finally, we've got Jason the Terrible squaring off against Terry Funk. He is the second and last Terry Funk that will be part of this tournament. So, the first matchup was Bill Irwin versus Ric Flair. Now, I've already said that the Ric Flair figure from Remco, I don't know what it is about this particular figure. Maybe it's the accessory. Maybe it's the fact that he's taller, has, just like any other Remco, awesome fighting poses. But for some reason, this Remco Ric Flair is actually my favorite Ric Flair figure. I didn't have this as a kid, of course. Now, you would think, okay, you had the WCW Galoob Ric Flair as a kid. You played the heck out of it. At a time when I didn't have many action figures as a kid growing up, like I said before, I probably had somewhere in the neighborhood of like 16 or 17 Hasbros, maybe another half a dozen or so Galoob figures. And of course, anything else that we could use from around the house as, figures. One of the rubber superheroes, Bigfoot, Thundercats figures, stuff like that. So, what is it so special about this figure? I mean, really nothing. He's just like any other figure. Is it a Ric Flair face? Based on 1980s design? Sure. I think what also gets me is I absolutely love the robe. I think the robe here is probably the greatest accessory, or at least on a top 5 among all the Remco accessories. I absolutely love it. It bleeds the figure in so well. And, this is my Nature Boy. I know that name, Nature Boy, is like popular among many wrestlers. When I think Nature Boy, this is it. This is the only character. Now, this is not an original accessory. I think this is more like, Rick Martel type of accessory. Whatever. It's something to put on a figure. Do I have additional Rick Martels I could slap it on? Sure. But I'm trying to get all the figures to be as close with accessories as possible. So, Bill Irwin, again, just like Scott, doesn't have either little sunglasses or anything like that. So, at least that figure had an accessory, the right accessory with the long coat and everything. And I mentioned it before, in like the 70s, 80s in particular, there's always certain get-ups that you're going to find very popular. You're always going to find like a Native American type wrestler, in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. You're going to find, your cowboy type wrestler. Occasionally you're going to get your bad boy biker type, whatnot. So, even though bikers and cowboys, I kind of classify them in the same boat for, because, what, separate 1800s horses for, 1900 Harleys, for example. Again, though, an absolutely fantastic figure, probably a top 15, just both the long riders, to me, would be top 15 figures. They have an outstanding look even without the accessories. Problem is, I don't know anything about the Long Riders, and Ric Flair. Even to this day, I hated him as a kid. As an adult, I really don't feel any differently. As an adult, of course, I respect the heck out of his accomplishments in life and what he has meant to so many different promotions. But still, just because you don't like the wrestler doesn't mean you can't appreciate him. And I have history with Flair. I don't have anything with Scott Irwin, Bill Irwin, excuse me, either of the Irwin brothers. But so for this video, of course, Ric Flair is going to defeat Bill Irwin. And I think this was another relatively simple decision for me. Nothing that I have to go back and forth. It could have been a possible second or third round figure easy. Again, luck of the draw. It all depends on who they're going to square off against in each round. This could be my winner right here. Again, luck of the draw. You never know. So, Ric Flair over Bill Irwin. Next matchup is going to feature from Legion of Doom, Hawk, original, taking on a custom Phenom of The Undertaker. So, for whatever reason, that face mold of The Undertaker is so creepy looking. Like, I don't know if I love this figure or hate this figure. I mean, obviously, I had to enjoy the figure if I bought him. The thing about customs is, if you like it, you're going to buy it. If you don't, you don't. It's that simple. I said, well, hey, I want to do a Remco tournament, so why don't I just acquire as many figures as possible just so I have something to show? Yes, that would be nice, but at the same time, you got to make sure that there's value in what you're purchasing. So even though the look on his face is so awkward, I don't know how to explain it, but when you look at everything else with this figure, everything from the infamous gray socks and gray gloves, I love that. I love the fact that it comes with kind of like this little late 90s biker type of image. So that's pretty solid. It comes with that clothing accessory. And look at the hair, man. That is so freaking solid. This is an amazing head sculpt. The body, the way it twists like that kind of sucks. That takes away from the value of the figure for me. But quality-wise, incredible. Here's the issue. He is squaring off against an original Legion of Doom Hawk figure. And you guys already know how much I covet Legion of Doom. So, do I bypass yet another original figure with a custom when you have actually one of the best original Remco figures? And the odd thing about the Remco Legion of Doom figures, now normally I always say that Animal has the best face paint. You look at, your custom LJNs, you look at your Jakks Pacific Classic Superstars, you look at Hasbro, there's just so much more intricate detail that goes into a Legion of Doom Animal than there is in a Hawk. Hawk is just that right there, just two colors, kind of, hey, bam, one, boom, you're done. That's it. Where there's actual design, the little spider design on Animal is so freaking amazing. But for whatever reason, when it comes to Remcos, even when you do see like a fully filled in face of Animal, it does not look anywhere near as good as Hawk. So this is the one time I think that Hawk has a better face paint than Animal. Both guys are no longer with us. I can't remember who. I think it was Hawk who died recently. I could have it backwards, but I didn't even know that either one of them was gone until I read about it, some months ago. And that was a sad story because, like I said, Legion of Doom, they were together forever. So many different promotions. And to top it all off, I think one outlived the other by like close to 20 years or something. 15 years, somewhere around there. It's like, to me, I kind of look at them as like a marriage, you're a husband and your wife dies, you want to be gone soon too because you don't want to live without her, especially when you spent so much time together. Yeah, that's, to me, that's one of the, painful losses in life. One of my absolute favorite tag teams. But figure-wise, alright, so pants compared to vest, accessory, neck and neck there, head mold. This is a tough one. I've already lost Animal in this tournament. I don't want to lose both Legion of Doom figures. But it'd be unfair of me to say, hey, I want to push this guy forward just because I want, Road Warriors to maintain some kind of, physicality in this tournament. But I have to go with the Undertaker, right? It only makes sense. The hair is amazing. The face is so creepy enough to the point where I think that this would be a solid figure. And of course, we're talking about what? Like my number 5 or 6 all-time favorite wrestler. Literally one of the greatest characters in WWF history. And does he at some point surpass... I mean, now that he's retired, you look back at his career, is he more important than guys like Bret Hart or Hulk Hogan? He just might be. It's funny, whenever Vince McMahon wanted to, challenge someone or hurt them in the worst way possible, it's like, yeah, you're squaring off against The Undertaker. Like you're literally facing, the devil or something. Like, he's just going to be that impossible to defeat. Undertaker, solid figure, and I think this one will go really far, hopefully, because, you want to see The Undertaker do well. Next matchup, we said was, alright, so, we've got the original Scott Hall versus Boris Zukov. Where did I do with the chain? I think I dropped the chain, yes I did. I mean, does he really need an added advantage in this battle? I don't think so, because you're already talking about literally from Matt Mania Series 5 Remco, I've already said before, has some of the all-time greatest figures in this tournament, or in this line. Does he need any more advantage to defeat Scott Hall? Yeah, Scott Hall has a nice little robe and everything. To me, that's just not, Scott Hall. When do I have it over here? To me, that is Scott Hall, right? So when I see this guy with, the mustache and everything, it just looks awkward. I never, I don't ever remember him with this look, obviously, so... Alright, get this chain back on here. So, and like I said, Boris Zukov, the head mold is very unique in comparison to many other Remcos. The accessory is just incredible, man. I love this little robe that he's got on, little singlet. And of course the chain just puts it over the top. Boris Zukov with a bunch of different wrestlers, not only in AWA, but, I mean, even in WWF though, he really didn't do too well. This guy was more of your throw-around wrestler. He wasn't your major superstar. I mean, he was a worker, though. He did his job. In this particular video, yeah, I'm sorry to lose Scott Hall, but man, Boris Zukov, like I said, this is just such an amazing piece. And I do not find any flaws in this figure whatsoever. Not one. I mean, everything is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, like I said, he was kind of like your throw-around enhancement type talent in WWF. He wasn't even a superstar now. I don't think he lasted long. I think he was in WWF for a year or so. But you know how wrestlers, they come back and, they suck some more and then they leave and they come back. What? Yada, yada, yada. Boris Zukov. And we are at 14 minutes. So luckily this is going by pretty quickly. I'm trying to get these videos to around 20 minutes, but so far it looks like 25 has been around the average for these videos. So, Steve Regal squares off against the High Flyers version of Greg Gagne. Steve Regal, I don't have his wife Precious, who's also the manager in this tournament, because I don't have a loose figure of her. And even though I have 2 carded figures, I'm not tearing up in those packages. Come on, no. That's not going to happen. You're decreasing the value by like 75% by doing that. Just like there with Ric Flair. Ric Flair's robe is absolutely amazing. And Steve Regal kind of like the same boat. So freaking cool. That is amazing. It's kind of like a sheepskin or bearskin rug or something. It kind of looks like. So that's really awesome. That's solid. Good looking figure with great colors. Kind of reminds me. I think this would be an awesome figure to customize to look like Big John Studd. I mean, he's already got the colors for it. You know, throw some stars on there. Change out the head. You got yourself a beautiful Big John Studd figure. So either Jonathan or Russ, if either of you guys are watching this video, hint, hint, hint. Greg Gagne. Of course, we already know, son of Vern Gagne, AWA legend, both as promoter, owner, and wrestler, 10-time champion. His son, Greg, not the most talented wrestler ever, but, I mean, the man was special enough to get 2 figures, okay? Yes, that's mainly due to the fact that his father owned the business, but still, you can't deny that his figures are absolutely amazing. In Series 1 with the High Flyers, alongside Jim Brunzell, literally 2 of the best figures in the entire series, in the entire line, period. In fact, when I did my favorite tag team tournament, I would have had no idea that the Remco figures would have done anything. So the first couple rounds, it was just, Hasbro on Hasbro, LJN against LJN, etc. And then when round 3 happened, all of the figures kind of merged into one. So I just selected the winners at random. And you would think, okay, in round 3, that's it, they're gone. Starting round 3, the High Flyers were the last remaining Remco tag team. And they made it all the way to the semifinals. Last 4 standing. So that was so special that I thought that much of the Remco figures. As you guys know, growing up, I don't know if we had actual Remco figures. I think we had bootleg versions that were like this. But here's the problem. I always called them Remco. So I knew of the Remco company and I knew the Remco style. So maybe we did have originals at some point. Or maybe I just saw commercials and I thought, based on the design, or heck, I could have seen them at the store and said, okay, here's a box of Remco figures, and later on when we get this type of style, maybe that's why I was calling them. And of course, we already knew, even as kids, Remco were kind of like, rip-off company, rip-off G.I. Joes, and just anything that was popular toy line-wise, they had their own, release, their own little knockoff version, so I never thought of Remco's as the most high quality figures ever. As an adult, I've said it many times, you will really appreciate things from adulthood that you never really realized as a kid. And Greg Gagne, it doesn't matter if you're looking at this version or if you're looking at his Gagne Raiders tag team with Kurt Hennig, he seems to get some of the best figures. And Steve Regal, good looking figure. I love the accessory, but come on. In this version, I can't bypass. I mean, everything from the tie-dye trunks to even the sweater vest. He's like this little preppy college boy type of look. Just so awesome, and I love it. So, of course, for me, it's too easy to select Greg Gagne over Steve Regal. Alright, so that puts the last matchup. Now, this first character, I didn't know anything about him. When I first bid on him, I literally thought that he was just a Friday the 13th, remake type of deal. And that may have been the design or the inspiration. But it is Jason the Terrible. And I really wish that the axe was either molded into the hand or if the hand was actually able to hold it, but not really well. Maybe if I twist it. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to put it in sideways. So you kind of have to hold it backwards to hold the axe. So again, I just kind of looked at that. I'm like, hey, that is a fantastic Jason Voorhees. Me being a horror fan and freaking loving Jason and loving Friday the 13th, I gotta have this for the horror collection. That is just too solid. And then I did some quick research on him, not a whole lot. All I saw was, Stampede Wrestling in Calgary. So, did he train under Stu Hart? I don't know. Like I said, a very minimal search just to kind of get a quick glance of who this was. So, Jason the Terrible actually was a real wrestler. And I'm like, okay, makes sense. Now I understand why Russ kind of created this figure. And, he's got a unique perspective on so many different wrestlers. Guys I never would have even thought of creating Remcos for. Is he a modern day wrestler, or is he, 80s, 90s era? I don't know. If you guys know, please let me know. I mean, I love, hearing from you guys and, learning from my viewers as much as anything. Beautiful figure. To me, that hockey mask, along with the accessory, I want this to be a winner. I want this guy to go somewhere near the end if he can't win the whole thing. Fantastic. Problem with Jason the Terrible here in the first round. He is going up against a legend and WWF Hall of Famer in Terry Funk. Now, Terry Funk has pretty much everything in this figure that was missing from the first figure that was eliminated earlier in this round. So everything from his cattle prod, which is absolutely amazing, and that cattle prod might actually be the same one that you get from the Coliseum 2-pack with Hulk Hogan. So I'm kind of looking at it right now. Looks like the same size, and that might be that. I mean, the hat accessory is incredible. I mean, a pretty solid looking face. I'm trying to see the other. I may have put him back, or yeah, I may have put him back. Trying to show you the two Terry Funks, and that way you guys kind of get a feel for each version. This looks like a much younger version than the one I had previously. And, of course, looking just like the Coliseum Terry Funk. The only thing he's missing is the tan pants. I am going to choose Terry Funk over Jason. I think it's a pretty reasonable selection. One, just as a really solid looking figure. It's too many accessories. Too much history with this legend. I don't know anything about this guy. I want to put him with the horror collection, but because he is wrestler based, I'm probably going to keep him with the rest of the custom and Remcos for wrestlings. But this was the one match I was looking forward to once I laid these figures out. And so I do have two more set up over here. And then the ones from Jonathan, I haven't pulled those yet. But I'm thinking I'm going to have to rearrange one of these last videos because, as I said, I have 3 barbarians. And with an odd number of figures in the last set, with 11 figures, I'm probably going to have to make barbarian one on one, and just choose the best one from there. So, this is video 5. So 6, 7... We'll probably look at about 9 videos. And if I gotta stretch out the last video to 6 matches instead of 5, that's fine too. So, one last look at Terry Funk as he defeats Jason the Terrible. Alright, so, recap this video. Ric Flair defeated Bill Irwin. Undertaker defeated Hawk from Legion of Doom. The Russian Boris Zukov defeated Scott Hall. High Flyers Greg Gagne defeated Steven Regal. And finally, Terry Funk just defeated Jason. Alright, well guys, that will end today's video. Thank you so much for watching as always. My last video, video 4, got a lot of comments, a lot of views, a lot of likes. And for me, anytime my video hits like 10 likes or more, you know how much that means to me. So, I think it's actually one of my more popular videos right now, so that's pretty awesome. Hopefully this one does as well as the others. And, of course, A lot of really fun matchups, a lot of great customs to be shown yet. So, again, guys, thank you for watching. Look forward to talking to you in the comments. And until next time, goodbye, everyone.